Friends, because I'm aware of your pastoral needs and am confident of Father Patrick's qualifications for the office of pastor, I now commend Father Patrick to you as your new pastor.
Friends, good evening. It is so good to be with you tonight. What an absolute joy, what an absolute honor to be with you tonight. Man, this is really something. This is really something. Bishop, if I may, I want to first say a word to you. I want to thank you. I want to thank you first for your yes. Your countless yeses, your sacrifices for what you have borne, for what you've suffered, what you've brought to the Lord silently in your own heart and your own prayer, faithfully through the many years, not just as our own shepherd in Cleveland, but as a priest for all these years. I want to thank you for all of that, for your fidelity. And I want to thank you for your warmth. I want to thank you for your kindness to me and to us as brothers, that you've always first been a brother before you've been our boss. You're our boss, but you are brother first, and that really makes a huge difference. I just want to thank you for entrusting them to me. And thanks for trusting me to them. So, to my brother priests who are here in the front row, thank you guys so much for being here. I know how hard it is to carve out time. I know how busy our lives are, how busy your lives are. So the fact that so many of you are here tonight just means the world to me. It means the world to me. Thank you for your brotherhood. Man, many, many decades of friendship, and I just treasure it. So thank you, guys, for being here. To parishioners that I've been so blessed to serve in previous assignments, some of whom I saw your faces as I was walking in, I just want to say, I see you and I love you, and I'm so... This is going to be a long homily. Okay. I am so grateful for you, for your love for me, for letting me love you over the years and helping to form me to be the priest that I am. So I love you and I see you. And to my family here of St. Bartholomew Parish in Middleburg Heights, at the word of his command and the stroke of his pen, I'm so relieved and so grateful to say, finally, I am yours. I'm yours. The gospel that we have this weekend, we heard Matthew tell it this way, that when Jesus disembarked and he saw the vast crowd, that his heart was moved for them. I get that. I get that. You know, over the past year and change now, I guess 14 months, people have asked me how it's going here, and how's it feel? Does it feel different? And only very recently do I feel like I've found the analogy, I found the language to articulate what this feels like, to capture it. Being a newly ordained priest feels a lot like, when you're serving as a parochial vicar in parishes, it feels a lot like you're a newly married man, you're a new husband. Like your whole identity has changed. Radical difference, radical newness. Everything has changed. What you think about, how you structure your time, the things that you suffer, the things that break your heart, all of that, it changes. But this year, this past year, this new ministry, this role of shepherding, of pastoring, it has very much felt like becoming a first-time dad. Becoming a first-time dad, where suddenly, the burden of responsibility is just so much greater, and the highs and lows are so much more. The emotional extremes, they're much farther. The things that you worry about, the things that concern you, the things that you obsess about are just different and new and more than ever before. Like never in my 9 years as a parochial vicar was I ever wondering or worrying about the cost of rock salt in wintertime, right? Or what's going on with our roofs, or how are our parking lots? What's the status with that? What's going on with our pipes? And great, our water main burst at the beginning of the winter on the front of our property. That was fun to deal with. I'm like, like when you're a parochial vicar, when, the stuff hits the fan, your face isn't really in front of the fan. As a pastor, your face is every time in front of the fan. I never really had to worry about finances or HR or bills, any of those things. I never obsessed about, are the doors getting locked? How's our security plans? What's going on with all of that stuff? I've never asked the question, when was the last time our AEDs got checked or serviced? I never wondered, where are we sourcing our donuts for Donut Sunday? That consumed more of my life than it should have. And y'all remember the time that I was like, let's just try cookies this month. That was bad. I learned that lesson. Let the people have their cookies, or their donuts, Yeah. It's just been so much new stuff. And in between all of that, there's the innumerable, unspeakably beautiful, powerful moments where God's grace is just so palpable, right? In the confessional, at so many bedsides at Southwest General, in nursing homes and memory care facilities in the area, and in the classroom, and phone calls, and appointments in my office, and marriage prep, at funerals, and at the graveside, all of that stuff, which you can't even put into words, which you can't put on a vocation poster, all of that so outweighs it all. It's all been so overwhelming, and it's all so worth it. And the thing, like a new dad, what has come through in all of this, while there's been this immense broadening of my horizons and the responsibilities, there's been also at the same time this narrowing, this specification, this dialing in of the mission. What is my life about? What's my existence? What's it oriented towards? Everything in the final analysis is being ordered by Jesus to the end of helping you encounter and be encountered by his life-transforming love over and over and over again, and learning how to abide in that and receive that love so that your own journey home to the Father's house brings as many people with you as possible. And I think perhaps the greatest gift that the Father could have given me on this Sunday, for this installation mass, in the midst of all of this, is to remind me that that enormous mission that is so big, that task, it doesn't really sit on my shoulders alone. And more to it, it's beyond me. It's beyond me. It's not really in my power to do it. I'm just one man. I'm just 5 loaves and 2 fish. I'm just a guy, who was raised by those two right there, my parents, Rick and Michelle. I grew up in Hudson. I went to public schools. I got good grades. I had friends, and I played sports, and I had crushes, and I had hobbies, and I had favorite movies. Priests aren't made out of different stuff. I'm just 5 loaves and 2 fish. And 5 loaves and 2 fish, they're not enough. But 5 loaves and 2 fish in the hands of Jesus. That's the amazing thing about the Lord, right? That every single time you give him anything, he gives it back more and transformed. That's why it's not scary. Your life, with all of the beauty and all of the complexity, all of the struggles and silent sufferings and heartaches and successes and failures and joys and sorrows, it's just 5 loaves and 2 fish. But in the hands of Jesus. In your marriages and your families, it's just loaves and fishes, just like the water in the jars at Cana. But you give it to Jesus. Like really give it to him, like irrevocably really give it to him over and over again when you realize that he's trustworthy and that his hands are good. And his hands are the place that you most actually want to be. You put it into his hands, man, it becomes something. It becomes something that words can really not even describe. Like this parish too, with all of its stories and characters, all of you, and all of its history and beauty and challenges, this parish with all of us, it's just 5 loaves and 2 fish. But in the hands of Jesus. Look, I don't have some grand strategy. I don't have some master plan. I just know this. I just know that every morning, like when I wake up 5 loaves and 2 fish, and I just need to park my butt in front of him because I'm not enough, and that's okay. I wasn't supposed to be, but I can be in his hands. And that's exactly where I want to be for you. Because I desire, right? And Jesus desires to lead you, to show you where to find that water that we heard about in that first reading from Isaiah, the water that slakes the deepest thirst of our hearts and our souls and our lives. And I know you're thirsty. And I want, because Jesus wants, like to awaken your hunger, like your real hungers, to make you really hungry for fullness, for life, for love, for healing and communion and connection and peace and satisfaction, and to bring all of those hungers to him, right, who satisfies. The Lord's telling us in that the responsorial psalm we just sang, the hand of the Lord feeds us. Not Patrick Schultz, the hand of the Lord feeds us, and he answers all of our needs, not some of our needs. I can only meet some of your needs. He answers all of the needs. And he longs for all of us, me included, right, to be convinced of the truth that nothing can separate us from the love of Christ, that he's the hound of heaven, he's the torrent of mercy, he's the prodigal father, he's the good shepherd, he is reckless, he's the ocean of mercy who will not abandon or reject us. Like what will happen, what could happen if every single one of our hearts in this parish became more and more anchored in the truth that I'm not rejectable, that there's nothing that disqualifies me. Like, hey, Patrick, my mercy is bigger. Hey, St. Bart's, my mercy is bigger. It's bigger. Friends, I'm just so excited. I'm honored. I'm humbled. I'm scared. But I'm so grateful. Bishop, I'm so grateful. I'm just 5 loaves and 2 fish. We're all 5 loaves and 2 fish. This parish is just loaves and fish. But in the hands of Jesus, that's where I want to be. Amen.